Same setting, different bike. So, I'm on the Trek Checkpoint. It's not my first ride, but it's the first one I've documented while I'm pedaling. So, initial thoughts? Yeah, good. So, I've been on the Trek to Marnie for the last, well, let's say a month. Probably a little bit longer, actually. And I'm used to the saddle, and the good news is the saddle's the same, so I won't be like, oh, I'm getting unfamiliar. I've got an unfamiliar touch point. I'm going to talk about that all of the time. Anyway, I do say this. I've got an unfamiliar cycle computer and I have no idea what that meant. That blue screen's meant to be. I had used it before, but I'd paired it with a whole lot of Bontrager lights, and I think it's looking for them, and it can't find them, so it's all like, Rob, what are you doing? So I'll fix that blue screen in a sec. Yeah, that's a good idea. And I'll tell you more as the ride progresses, but that's the beginning of it. That's the first few hundred meters. So blue turned to a map, but I don't really need that because I know where I am. And although I say often, I'm not sure where I'm going, it doesn't mean that I don't know where I'm going. As in, I know the directions, I just don't know the destination. So I'm going to flip that. Anyway, sorry, this is about the bike, not the computer, but, well, it's all encompassing, isn't it? For the record, bloody beautiful day. Yesterday was pretty windy and then there was a storm in the evening, got soaked. Anyway, long story, you don't need to hear it. So that's where I am, and I'm a bit lost with this computer. I've got to stop it because it's distracting me from my other thoughts about the bike. Yeah, it's a gravel bike in the city, but like, bear with me. For the record, immediately used to the Shimano gears, and for the record, the GRX, I didn't know the name. The levers, oh, it's a beautiful shape, it's really good, and on my wounded hand, it's bloody fantastic ergonomics and very, very natural. And I'll show you this, I'll show you how I like to shift. Which is to say, from the very, very top of the lever, it's still real easy. I like that. I don't think I'll ever tire of that intersection. I just love the idea of like having free roam at Broadway in Sydney. A little bit chilly today. Oh, here. I'm just going to use that. I don't care. I don't really give a shit about data too much. Sometimes it's useful, you know, to confirm if, hey Rob, I felt pretty bad. Did you feel bad? Yeah, evidently I did. That kind of thing. I have a rough idea of where I'm going to go today. Yeah, a rough idea. It might not happen that way, but it's sort of it should expose a little bit of gravel to these tyres. But before I do that, I'm going to do like a compare and contrast, like a cityscape and then a gravel scape or whatever you call it. So I might just find a little spot to get some overview product shots. How's that sound? So building, bike. Anyway, there's a quick overview of what the bike looks like. On y va, for the record. Which is to say, good old-fashioned SPDs and some Bontrager mountain bike shoes. He says as he's just finding the pedal and the cleat and pink one and pink two. Right, to the trails, he says, pedalling along with his right hand ever so conveniently placed on that beautiful, practical Shimano lever, whatever it's called, GRX or something. You know it, but I don't. It's like I've been SRAM man for 4 years now, and there's a reason for that, but I won't bore you with the detail. So a traditional setting, but it's just a different bike. My mind is awash with thought. I've heaps of things I could tell you, but for now, let's just let the pictures tell a story for a little while. And in a moment, I'll find a nice little spot to sit down and sort of reflect on all the things that have come to mind in these first few kilometres on the checkpoint. For the record, it's a Wednesday morning and I've got a heap of work to do, so it's not going to be a big ride, but it should be a pretty ride. And I've already got a great sample of, you know, how the bike goes, and I already feel totally at ease on it. And I'm already thinking, damn, this is, in my appraisal, a great way to start cycling. Like, very practical bike. Until now, it's been largely familiar if you follow me on YouTube, but it's about to get a bit different, okay? Yeah, it will, trust me. And I'm pretty sure that my GPX files are not going to be recorded for this ride because I have no idea what I've done with this computer. Sorry about that. I'll stop referencing that now. Okay, here's something different. I've been here before on a mountain bike, but I didn't film back then. And ta-da! Yeah, the coal loader, okay? That's where I am. So it's going to be a little bit different. I didn't bring my little mini Zeus light for the GoPro, so I'm not going to go into the tunnel and film because you won't see it, but... Alright, community garden. Probably the nicest community garden in the world. Oh, I'm sure other people would dispute that, but I think it's pretty lovely. And now just down here is the coal loader. You can't see that, and here, filming one-handed. See, gravel bike. A bit more robust than my usual, and I can do what I like. What the hell, Rob? Have you gone somewhere new? Yes. Bear with me. It's going to get more interesting, potentially. I don't know if I'm allowed, so we'll see what we do. I reckon that's pretty unreal. Continuing. Listen to those tyres on the concrete. Hang on. All you can hear is the knobbies because the rest of the drivetrain is whisper quiet. Whisper, whisper, quiet. Thanks very much, Nash Kent of Park Bikes, for a terrific mechanical job. Here, gravel. Told you it's a gravel bike. Okay, you're getting that. And now I can show you those community gardens from up here. And for the record, I don't know if they're a community garden, but I sort of said that based on the fact that they're here amongst the community. I think I can't ride those stairs, so that's enough for now. I'll check in a minute. Good news for me, I just sort of had a little fiddle with that, and I've got sort of more of the kind of numbers that I prefer to see. And now listen to the serenity. For the record, this is one of my absolute favourite gardens in Sydney. It's an Angophora forest, and it's bloody beautiful. And I have picked an absolutely stellar day to come here. It's Balls Head Drive. I only knew that because there was a sign just then. I have been here before, but I can't be the tourist guy because it's sort of unfamiliar again. But it's nice, isn't it? You'll see why it's a slow point soon. I've also, just for the Shimano newbie reference, I've realised how much of a workout my right hand's getting because I'm shifting up and down the rear cluster, but I haven't touched the front derailleur. And I've only been in the big ring because actually, and the range is really good. It's real subtle changes, like little steps. And talking about a bike while I'm also taking in the beauty and the serenity and the kookaburra. And in a minute, the view, or in less than a minute, in like microsecond, in fact. Oh, bummer. Oh shit, I just saw a sign, no bikes on track, so that sort of spoils the intention. But that's not the end of the world. I'll have to just find another piece of gravel somewhere else. Oh, okay, well there you go. I was going to show you a little bit of the beauty of Ball's Head, but I can't. Anyway, continuing, it's a bloody beautiful garden, like I said. Brush turkeys are everywhere. They're in North Sydney. I think I probably saw them on Piedmont Bridge. Anyway, continuing. What's not to like about that? Well, it's a rhetorical question. So don't talk to your computer screen. Ah, it is bloody magic. I'm gonna use my feet, as in walk. Lopen, zal een beetje lopen doen. Yeah, I'm gonna just use my feet, yeah. Hang on. Okay, so if you're following my GPX file and you're thinking, hang on, his bicycle went there, it did, but when it says no bicycles, does it mean no riding? I'm just going to take it up here to give it a little photo session, and then I'm going to continue on my merry way. But I did come over here with the intention of shooting it with a beautiful harbour in the background, so I'll continue doing that. Look at this tree. What's that one doing? It's not an Angophora, and it's near the Angophora forest, so it's a little bit of an intruder, that one. But these things happen. Walking with my bike, showing respect. Okay, rangers, just to be clear, that's what you can do with SPDs. Shimano pedaling dynamic, in case you didn't know, Ranger. And, you know, these shoes, for the record, first ride, no, actually second ride with them, and they're bloody unreal. Yeah, and those socks are terrific too. Yeah, they are. All right, I know where, I've walked here with the family, and probably on my own, and with a few visitors from overseas, just to show them the beauty of my city. So still walking, okay, Ranger. And actually hope this isn't showing up on my GPX file, because everyone will be going, God damn, Rob, you're pathetic today. Yes, well, mildly pathetic, but a bloody good tour guide. And you'll understand that comment when I spin the camera around from here. Hang on a minute, hold it. It's not quite perfect, but it's pretty bloody unreal. Continuing. So I do know a little spot, so I'm going to go there, and next time I pull the camera out, I'll show you that. So, as fate would have it, Maria, the park ranger, just came and had a chat, and she said, are you walking your bike? And I said, I am. I said, I know the sign said no bicycles and not no riding, but are we going to do a lesson in pedantics here? And she said, no, so long as you're walking the bike, that's cool, just don't ride it. For the record, she's here looking for people walking their dogs off the lead, and she's not doing that just because the dog shouldn't be in the park. She's doing it because they're fox baiting. And I asked how many foxes died, and she said, oh, I'm not sure. There's my bike. There's my beautiful bike, but it's not my bike, it's a review bike. And anyway, the punchline is this. There's a reason why there's so many brush turkeys or bush turkeys, it depends on what you want to call it, and that is because they're baiting foxes, and the foxes are dying, and therefore they're not eating the brush turkeys. Ta-da! So otherwise we've got a few birdies, tweet, some water dragons, and some bike riders, brush turkeys, and heaps of possums. And I said, is it Angophora or Angophora? And she said, I don't know, is it tomato or tomato? And I said, really? We live in Australia? No, I didn't say that, that'd be rude. I said, it just depends on what emphasis you want to put on which syllable. That's a joke, that never gets old for me. Do you know why I showed you that? Because I said to Maria, the ranger, I'm just going to go to my little favourite spot, which isn't quite here. I've made a little wrong turn. It's nearby, and I'm going to film this bike with a beautiful cityscape in the background. Stay tuned. It is a bike test, a bit of tourism, a bit of I don't know, whatever you call it. Tourism with Rob, yeah, TWR, someone calls it. I don't know, I forget his name. Anyway, he leaves that comment. So Rob, what are you doing? Well, a bit of tourism, as I said earlier, and a bit of squinting, so let's remedy that. Pink, that's better. Check this out, this is pretty funny. So there's two things from this vantage point, right? City. Bloody beautiful city at the moment, isn't it? The second punchline is this, okay? Just to pretend that I've been a little bit of bike packing. So there you go, a cute little cave right next to the harbour. And it looks like someone had a campfire there. I don't think you should do that, that's bloody stupid. Alright, so what did you do on Wednesday morning, Rob? Well, I tried a new bike, put on some new shoes, and some old socks, favourites, and took in the sights. Yeah. Bike, bloody terrific. Long wheelbase, super duper stable. It's heavier than mine, like considerably heavier than mine. But I didn't feel like I was going that slow. Now, I'm not trying to get top speed, I'm not trying to race anyone, I'm just trying to get around town, and for that purpose, this bike is tickety-boo. Absolutely fantastic. I know it's a gravel bike, but I'd also call it a bloody fantastic city bike. And the knobby tyres are useful, should you ever find yourself just thinking, I might meander down to Ball's Head and have a look around and go into the Ungoffera Forest and talk to Maria the Ranger, and just take in the sights before I go to work. So I'm going to tell you more about this bike when I'm not just gibbering and probably a bit over caffeinated. And but this is part one of my story of my ride on the Trek Checkpoint. Any questions, ping them in, and I'll do my best to get back to you and give you a little, you know, my 2 cents worth. All right. All right, that's it. I'm distracted. You can understand why. Trek Checkpoint. My first ride. Here's the story of my ride. Echo from a cave at Ball's Head. One last thing. The dash is behaving a lot more. That's the cycle computer, and that's where I am. So, I think I've said that's the story of my ride about 23 times, but that is the story of my ride. And to be honest, I'm sure I'm going to tell you more in a minute. 1, 2, oop. I said it's a bit heavier, but it's not the end of the world. And it rides quite light. It's the bike test you're having when you're having a walk, so to speak. And respecting the rules of the bush in this part of the world. You know, and to be truthful, I can't wait. One of the reasons that I've put off doing the review of this bike is that when I ride it, I want to exploit it. And I want to just go for hours and hours and hours on the gravel. And even from this very short, meandering tourism ride, with a lot of commentary and a lot of stopping and starting, I can tell that this is a bloody all-day bike. I can also tell that in comparison to the Trek Checkpoint, which has got all of that ISO speed technology, this is quite brutal insofar that it's got an aluminium frame, an aluminium seat post, the same saddle as on the Demani, but it's like boof, 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 which is to say gives you a bit of a pounding, and I'm now starting to understand that the ISO speed on the Demani has got a hell of a lot of value on account of it giving the comfort factor. So, Trek review ongoing. Where did your bike take you this morning? Something similar to that? Okay, and go for a forest. I'm taking in your beauty. And home again. That was a great few hours on the bike. I'd highly recommend it. Yes, I would. Is it a revelation? No, I was expecting it. But is it fantastic fun and super convenient and very stable and not terribly expensive and absolutely versatile? Yes, it is. Would I recommend it? After one ride, already I would, yes. Gravel bike, yeah. City bike, yeah. Versatile bike, that's right.